Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here and welcome back to another video on Superman and Lois. I know it's been such a long time since I did my last Superman and Lois video, but this is my review and breakdown for Superman and Lois Season 1, Episode 6, titled Broken Trust. Once again, just giving you guys my quick initial thoughts. This show slaps. It's such a good show. This was another phenomenal episode, and just what a way to kick off the back half of the season. We had some very interesting storylines with Clark and him teaching Jordan in controlling his abilities, and that being like a Superboy setup. But also we did have some really cool and interesting Captain Luthor and Lois Lane moments, which I just cannot wait to talk about. But before I get into anything else, spoiler alert, in case you guys haven't seen the episode, you have been warned because this is a review and breakdown after all, so I'll be going over the episode bit by bit as I give you guys my overall thoughts on it. So if you guys haven't seen the episode yet, go watch the episode and come back later for the breakdown and review. But for those who are staying, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so this episode kicks off right where we left off, where we have Jordan getting beat up by Tag. He's pretty much defenseless. He can't do anything about it. Tag essentially found out Jordan was responsible for what's happened to him. He wants answers. This is where we have Jordan starting to panic because he can't do anything and he's trying to talk Tag out of it, but Tag just keeps punching him and he's trying to get answers. So this leads to Jordan calling Superman, and Tag panics and runs away, in which we have this awesome chase scene with Tag and Superman. Obviously Tag's speed way outweighs Superman's speed, so Clark is struggling to catch up to him, but this then leads to Tag destroying the train tracks and Superman saves the day. And the VFX, I miss it so much. The VFX for this episode were just off the chart. They were so gorgeous. But we then have the family at home and we have Jordan getting cleaned up by Lois Lane, and the family is basically wondering why Tag went after Jordan, in which Jordan reveals that Tag basically saw footage of his heat vision from episode 1 and he blames him for getting these speed powers. Now Lois then says, "That's why I hate the internet," and I really like that line. Lois is just such a great character. I really love Bitsy Tilloch's performance as Lois Lane. She's my favorite live action version of Lois Lane. But Lois and Clark talk about how this could be Morgan Edge's doing, and Lois wants to investigate this more, and Clark will keep a closer eye on Jordan just in case Tag shows up again. Now we then have Jordan beginning to get these headaches, and this is essentially because his powers are just evolving, and Clark tells him to sit out for the football game the next day. Jordan mentions he's fine. This football match is very important to him and he wants to be able to play, and Clark says, okay fine, you're gonna have to prove yourself if you are actually fine. Now we then have Morgan Edge continuing to talk about how he can just make Smallville a better place. He's basically thanking Kyle for believing in him. He basically hires Lana Lang for a job to work alongside them, and we have Kyle kind of getting bothered by this because he was the one who expected to get a job from Morgan Edge. But obviously we found out that Morgan Edge does have feelings towards Lana Lang. But Jordan is at school and he continues to get these headaches. Now Sarah talks about coming to the game and Jordan gets excited over this, but Jordan just cannot control these headaches anymore, so he goes to the toilet with Jonathan, and Jonathan suggests that they tell Clark about what's happening, but Jordan says no, we're going to keep Dad out of this because he wants to play in that game so badly because he wants payback from his bullies back in Metropolis. Now we then have Lana and Kyle talking about this new job promotion which Lana received through Morgan Edge, and Kyle talks about how he was the one who expected to get this job offer because he's organized everything and he basically believes in Morgan Edge, so he was the one who expected to get this job promotion, but he didn't. Now this then leads to Lois Lane arriving to the house, and she basically asks for help about Morgan Edge and that he could be onto something illegal, but both Lana and Kyle begin to deny Lois's request because firstly, they've just been offered a job from Morgan Edge, and secondly, there's lack of evidence of such thing, so they just don't believe Lois. Now we then have Clark and the kids in the basement, and Clark is basically teaching Jordan about controlling his abilities. So at the first go, when Jordan punches the log he hurts his hand badly, and then he applies the technique which Clark told him alongside the imagination which Jonathan gave him about him imagining that his bully's face is right in front of him, and he punches it and he's able to dent the log. I thought that was a pretty cool scene as well. Now we then have Samuel Lane calling, and he basically tells Clark that Tag has been spotted in Metropolis, and Clark is worried about this because he could potentially show up to Jordan's game, and Clark mentions to Samuel Lane that Jordan will be playing in Metropolis. So Samuel Lane's like, okay, I'm gonna bring some soldiers so they could patrol the area just in case, and obviously Clark will be keeping a close eye as well. But we then head over to the football game, and we have Team Smallville losing at first, and Jordan goes onto the field, but the issue is he's not able to perform the best he can because he continues to get these headaches. So we then have Jonathan stepping in, and he helps out the team because he was a quarterback and he used to play for Metropolis as well, so he knows their techniques, and that results to Team Smallville beginning to take the lead. And we have Jordan tackling his bully on purpose as well, and Clark gets mad about that because he shouldn't be using his powers for such thing. But this then leads to Jordan beginning to get beat up by the other team, and Jordan's beginning to lose control. His eyes are beginning to like ignite with heat vision, and I was like, what is happening over here? Because it seemed like Jordan was gonna lose it. He was gonna like explode his heat vision everywhere, but then Clark arrives to save him, and essentially we have Jordan letting go of all of the heat vision onto Clark's hand, and that was such an awesome scene. I really liked that. But we then have Captain Luthor arriving to Lois and Clark's house. He basically offers to help Lois with her investigation, and basically he found a secret way in the investigation scene, and essentially he just forged like these cards. Lois doesn't know about that. She just thinks that he found these cards out of nowhere, but obviously he's forged them. But they're disguised as construction workers, which was pretty funny to see, and Luthor essentially waffles his way inside the investigation scene, so I thought that was pretty cool, and I was very interested to see where that would go. But we have Sarah Cushing taking care of her sister, and we have the doorbell ringing, only to find out that it's Tag, not the pizza delivery guy. And firstly he's beginning to ask for help, but his powers just start glitching, which obviously scares Sarah, and he accidentally knocks her out. And when we have Lana and Kyle arriving from their dinner a while later, they notice that Sarah is gone. Now we then have Jordan in the hotel room talking to his father about losing control about his powers. Clark grows up to become Superman, and he questions who he will be. And Jonathan tells Clark about the headaches which Jordan has been having. Clark isn't very too happy that Jordan kept this a secret, but we have Lois and Luthor continuing to investigate the area. Luthor essentially uses like a laser pen to cut through the rocks, and they find X-Kryptonite. They find the stash of X-Kryptonite which Morgan Edge was hiding during the ending of episode 3, I'm guessing, episode 3 or 4, it was one of those. But essentially it's one of the rarest pieces of kryptonite. And Lois is beginning to become suspicious about Captain Luthor because he came prepared for everything. Like, how would he know that there was a stash over there? So we then have Lar coming in, and she attacks Lois and Luthor. But while Luthor and Lois are on the run, Luthor uses the laser pen to blast Lar away, and they escape. And I just thought that was such a great scene as well. But as Clark is on the search for Tag, he uses his hearing abilities to find him, and we have Tag explaining the explosion coming from Jordan to Sarah, and he's basically asking for help because something is wrong with him. But Clark is able to hear where Tag's voice is coming from, in which Superman arrives and tells Tag that he won't hurt him, but he's going to have to trust him. This then results into the army coming in to kill Tag, resulting into Superman saving them. But then Clark gets hit with kryptonite, and I got chills. He starts lasering up, he destroys the kryptonite, he flies towards the soldiers, and he orders them to stand down. I love this scene so much. I got chills from it. It's one of my favorite Superman moments ever, especially with the parallels with the Jordan scene, which I will get into in just a second. So we have the football team hanging out together with the losing team from the football match causing some trouble towards Team Smallville, and this then leads to them starting to bully Jordan. But the thing about this is, Jordan isn't having it. He's getting angrier and angrier. He reaches out for a punch, and Jonathan notices it in time in order to block the punch. However, this results to him breaking his hand in return. I thought that was a pretty cool scene as well. But we then have Clark confronting Samuel Lane about the way he has been dealing with these different metas and why they're using kryptonite against him. And Samuel Lane is willing to do everything necessary in order to keep the city safer. That's what he said. Clark hears a call from Jordan saying that Jonathan is badly hurt. He's broke his hand. We have Lois Lane becoming suspicious about Captain Luthor as well, and how he was able to master forgery with the badges, and how he was able to come prepared for everything. So she wants to know who he really is. So that is a very interesting storyline, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. And obviously Lois then ends up getting a call from Clark as well about Jonathan's injury. Now we did have this nice talk between Clark and Jordan and how he should conceal his anger so that he doesn't hurt anyone else, and Clark does mention that there are times he is angry too, but in order to stop people from being afraid of him and his powers, he has to calm down. And we did also have this scene where Lois talks about her investigation and how she almost died to Clark, and she found something called X-Kryptonite, in which Clark hasn't heard of such thing before. Now we then head over to Lana Lang and Lois Lane talking to each other the next day, and after evidence of finding things out, Lana is willing to help Lois with her investigation on Edge behind Kyle's back, and this Morgan Edge investigation stuff is so cool and I cannot wait to see where this goes. But we then get another great talk between Jordan and Lois, and I love the acting during this scene. Jordan basically talks about how he's afraid of these powers and he just wants the pain to stop, and this results to Jordan getting some headaches again, but this time he's unable to control it, and this leads to Clark flying him to the Fortress of Solitude. Wow, honestly guys, just what an ending. Overall, this was a phenomenal episode of Superman and Lois. Every single episode of this show so far has just been amazing. What a way to kick off the mid-season for this show. Yeah, things will just be getting crazier and crazier from now on, but overall for this episode I will give a 9 out of 10. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought about this episode, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.